So to jump right into cognitive dissonance, which I've also mentioned several times in the last few weeks, it kind of does go hand in hand. In my mind, it does with the trauma bond, because we just talked about trauma bond on Monday. Please look that up. Cognitive dissonance means in your brain, you know it's bad for you, but you do it anyway. Cognitive, there's a dissonance between how you behave, what you accept, and what you know is proper, what you would want to accept. I often use, because I made videos on this before, of course, I'm doing this because we have new people coming in all the time, and I mentioned trauma bond and cognitive dissonance the last few weeks, and I wanted to let people know what it is. I use the example often. You guys that have been with me for 2.5 years know I use smoking, okay? I've never been a smoker, but those that are smokers, they know it's bad for them. That's hands down, hands down. We can't argue with that anymore. The Surgeon General came out in the 60s, and we know it's bad for us. They do it anyway. They'll convince themselves. They will say anything they can to keep themselves smoking, right? I've known people that are broke ask me for financial advice, and I'll find $600 in their budget in 2 seconds flat because they smoke. They're broke. Do you think they quit? That's cognitive dissonance. They know they should. They know they should because it's unhealthy, but they don't. I've known people to see their spouses die of things like emphysema or any kind of one of those. They still continue to smoke. You're going to tell me they think that they've had evidence right in front of them that it's bad for them, but they continue to smoke. That's cognitive dissonance. When it comes to the narcissist, you 100% at some point, we all do, know that it's bad for us. We know they're bad. We know there's no way this is ever going to work out, yet we stay. I kept it under 2 years, but I knew 100% that this cat was bad news. And I stayed. Why? Because my heart didn't meet my brain. There was a dissonance between what I knew, cognitive, and what I felt. There's a dissonance that keeps you from accepting the truth in front of you. I talk a lot about accepting the truth in front of you, and that's because cognitive dissonance means that we're not accepting the truth in front of us. We're not accepting that smoking is bad. We're not accepting the narcissist is bad. We're coming up with excuses. Well, George Burns smoked a cigar and he lived till 100. Well, so-and-so smoked till 93 and they smoked every day. Or, okay, you can say that all day long. You can do it with your narcissist too. Well, he said he was sorry. My romantic partner is he, so that's what my stories follow. We always say insert your pronoun, your own, to make it your own. He said he was sorry. He hasn't done anything wrong in a month. He's been good. He hasn't even gone out on one Friday night. I checked his, pardon me, his phone. There's nothing on it. There's no way on God's green earth ever that you could ever know in this day and age in 2023 that what somebody is doing 24/7. That's impossible. I don't care if you check their phone. They can clean their phone, they can have another phone, they can email, they can go to the corner store and use their phone, they can have a friend and use their phone. There's no way on earth that you could ever know what somebody is doing. What you do know, cognitive, is whether they're a good person or not, whether you trust them or not, trust your instincts, you know what they did to you, what are they saying to you, are things weird, you feel it. So if you know they're bad and you can't leave, it's the dissonance that we have to talk about. You have to have your heart meet your brain. Logically, you know, oh yeah, no, I know he's bad news, Renee. I've heard this. I know he's bad news. I know I have to get away. I can't. Why not? I love him. And he loves me. In his way, he loves me. He loves me. He told me right out he loves me. You have to hear the way, I love this one. You have to hear how he is with me. You don't know what he's like with me. You don't see what he does for me when no one's around. That is cognitive dissonance served on a plate, because you're convincing yourself he really is good. You just don't see it, everybody. He really is good when you're not looking, everybody. That's you trying to convince yourself that he's good enough for you to remain there. That's you trying to tell yourself there's something good still here. Because why? Because you're trauma bonded, Monday's video, to that person. They did that on purpose. They're breadcrumbing you on purpose. They're bringing you back into the good love bombing on purpose after they devalue you, because they're not ready to not be with you, or they're not ready to go on, or they don't have a place to live, or whatever the reason. You could be married to them. They could have kids with you. They don't want to disrupt their household, whatever, but you caught them cheating, say. Well, you don't think a husband and a father wants to walk out on his family, even if they are a narcissist. They want to maintain the charade. So they have to love bomb you, bribe you, get you gifts, so that after they cheat on you, they can buy you these things so that you remain in place. It's not healthy. Not healthy. That's a bribe. That's a bribe. And might they change? No. Not if they're a dysfunctional narcissist. If they're a healthy person and stepped out by oops, mistake, you guys had a bad spot, you're seeking counseling, that can happen. I truly have faith in humanity, and I also know humanity is exactly that, human. So people can make errors, but not a narcissist. They know exactly what they're doing when they devalue you, and they know for a fact that in your heart, you can still have those strings pulled. I just spit. I saw it go, whoop. Not classy. But I feel when they know that you can still have your heartstrings pulled, then they'll come out with all the language. They know exactly what made you swoon before. They're going to mirror you right back to you, your hopes, your dreams, assure you it's all still happening, and they're going to keep that dissonance wide so that your brain never matches your heart, so that you never know smoking is bad and then know you have to quit and then quit. They don't care even if you know that they're bad, as long as you don't quit and your heart says you've had enough. They're going to say and do anything they have to do to keep you in the space they want. Cognitive dissonance is very, very important, you guys. And if you are a smoker, use smoking as an example. That's exactly what it is. You know it's bad for you. You know you have to quit, but you just can't. And it has to do with addiction also. We talked about that a little bit last time. They're throwing around all kinds of chemicals, these narcissists. When they are giving you the breadcrumbs, we talked about it on Monday's video. You're doing the dopamine and the endorphins, that's addictive. When they're doing the devalue, that's adrenaline and cortisol, that's addictive. So you can liken it to the addict, because you might say, well, smoking's not a good example. Nicotine's a real addiction. So is adrenaline, cortisol, dopamine, and endorphins. And they're feeding you all four of those. So your cognitive brain is saying, oh, this is bad. But the dissonance is the fact that you can't break away from this. The second you try to break up with them, your system is like, you're checking your phone. When are they going to call? 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 Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But I need to hear his voice. I need to hear his laugh. You don't understand. I can't be without him. I don't know how to sleep at night without him. All of that can happen. And that's cognitive dissonance. I bring this up because I want you to recognize it next time, so that if you are teetering, you know I never tell you to leave, but if you are teetering, this is one of the things that keeps you there. Your brain, I have a client whose brain knows it is completely dysfunctional. The heart keeps you there because they were so magnanimous, or they did such a good job at love bombing you. It keeps you in a space of, I'll never find that again. I'll never have that with anybody else again. Of course you will. It wasn't even real with the person you did it. This person put on a show for you. It wasn't even real. Do you understand what I mean? They're toxic. They manipulated you on purpose to feel a certain thing. And I caution you against this because my goal is to keep you safe. If that means you leave your narcissist, that's your choice, then you leave your narcissist. If you're staying with your narcissist, I at least want you aware of cognitive dissonance so you know what's keeping you there. You know it's bad for you. Don't tell me you don't know it's bad. Don't tell me you think this person's going to do a 180. Please don't tell me that. We've talked enough about how they don't change. And they're not going to do a 180 at all, ever, ever, ever in the world, ever. And they might say, I'm sorry. They can't say those words. It's a myth that they can't. But they don't feel it. They don't feel guilt or regret or shame at all. And we're going to talk about that next video. I'm going to tell you guys what a certain toxic person did to me. I'm going to get into some specifics for the first time in 2.5 years. And I'm going to I've told you bits and pieces with my narcissist, but this is another peripheral narcissist. And I'm going to let you know at some point your brain matches your heart and you say, no, you know what? Time out. I'm done. Because my brain knows this is unhealthy and I don't want anything to do with someone who treats me that way. Keep yourself safe, you guys. I only care about you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you Friday.